It's time, 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 time. Where have you been? Did you get my message? Your message was telling me.
Hey, my name's
It's
Sean
not 10:10.
Shaler.
It's 10 o'clock.
The the musician down there, his name is Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, aka insert artist name here. Chris, you got an artist name? You got a
The
SoundCloud
artist.
alias?
Ooh, SoundCloud.
The artist
The artist
currently
formerly
known as
known
Chris
as
Ford?
the artist. Yes, the artist currently known as Chris Ford. Good.
Beautiful, beautiful, well done. Welcome to Avatar, The Last Podcasters. We are excited to bring you a Valentine's Day episode, quote unquote, with the same level of enthusiasm that we bring to every holiday episode, which is extremely minimal. And we're
No,
both,
Sean, we put a lot of work into these things.
you know what?
Sort of. Sometimes we
Some,
do. We take it seriously to do these themed holiday ones.
Sometimes we'll record in advance and then I'll be posting things and I'll see like the date when I'm scheduling it on YouTube. I'll be like, that Christmas? Christmas 25th every year, right? Huh. And then I'll post it, and that's our holiday episode. And not this last year. I feel like we did some of this last year, but yeah. So if you care about Valentine's Day, and frankly we don't, but if you care about it and you're into that stuff, we got a pretty cool episode here where we have taken all of the notable ships from the Avatar: The Last Airbender
Well,
series only.
let me specify that these are the canon couples ships. So
Yeah,
like,
no Zutara. That's what he's
so like,
saying. Get out of here.
I don't want to hang on the time. uh, just and I define this by like one person having feelings and or attraction to another person, and that person reciprocating those feelings in one way, in attraction or in um, feelings as well. And so that's why you won't see like Aang and Mang, because that's a one-sided thing. That's why you won't see Toph and Sokka, because that's a one-sided thing.
There's one that you could convince me is kind of fringe, but we'll talk about it when we get to it. So we're gonna rank those. Chris and I both submitted our thought processes together, and then Chris aggregated our rankings. And but Chris, before we jump right in, first of all, how are you? How you been doing?
I'm good.
You had a
I'm
really
really good.
pained look on your face when you said that. You're like, oh, good.
I'm just fine. I'm feel busy at work, which I always like being very busy at work. So much so that I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll get this thing done on time. For some reason, there's a good feeling. I'm just like, oh yeah, hard at work this week.
Is that a
I'm
good
trying.
motivator for you personally? Like you know you're getting the
Yeah,
most out of yourself when you have the most to do.
like my favorite day at Payless, maybe to work, is like planning. Probably when I was like only this planner before I think you came over for international kids, and I actually, and even I don't think there was a men's planner either. And so I was planning back to school shoes, and like I came in at like 6 o'clock, left at like 6 o'clock, came in like probably 6:30 in the morning, left at like 8 at night. Like I did it. I planned it all. It's all planned. It's in the system. I can I can show everyone these plans, and I printed off the whole. Cause I made a spreadsheet that had all the
It
weekly
was
plan
several
forecast.
trees, several trees.
I used to kill so many trees.
So it was probably obvious, but when I first started my work as an analyst, and even coming from the stores, right, that was supposed to like teach us things, and it did, but like when I'm first doing my work as an analyst and they're kind of introducing you to what you functionally do, like you got the interview talk, you know what that means, but functionally they're like, hey, we got this software, kind of divides and very, I can't even think of the word, very literally distributes, allocates, couldn't think of the word, allocates shoes to stores and all that stuff. In my head, modern Sean, who has never worked in Java before, is thinking like, okay, so like, what do? I just look at it, make sure it did a thing. Like it's automatic, right? It's using math. It's using formulas. This should be easy. And then it was probably like a solid week, like sitting through, and they're trying to teach us Slim, which is you remember Slim, right?
Store level, yeah, store
Store
level
level
inventory
inventory
management.
management, yeah. And finally, I'm like, oh, we have to do most of it because it mostly isn't automatic. Like it is. But I just assumed in my head, I was like, this gotta be like a systematic way that all this math just kind of happens, right? No, not really. Just some manual Excel finagling. I just remember like having a light bulb go on, like, oh, I get it. It's because it's bad. That's why. Okay, I got it. But I never was on the North America side where they probably did have more data points and maybe better software. I don't know. I don't know what it was like over there. No different. Yeah. Anyway.
It's pretty much just sending 11 shoes to these stores. You know, they're not gonna sell that many.
They
So
they had an easier
it's
easier
nothing.
job over
I
there.
was in I was in North America men's. It was
The worst. Maybe the
pretty much just
literal
make sure you
worst.
get your work boots where they need to go. That was a big part of it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. But no, I just remember specifically like when a light bulb went on for me. It's like, oh, this is what I actually have to do. Okay. Chris, I got a little news. Is that my wife and I did pre-order Hogwarts Legacy on the PC. You'll know I'm a Harry Potter person. You see the castle over there in the corner, a little bit, and it's very good. I would say,
Okay.
I would say like 9 out of 10 territory, or like game of the year
Ooh.
candidate in that B+ game meets massive popularity kind of way,
Yeah.
right? I would say it's a game of the year candidate in that sense. I don't play a lot of realistic games. I play a lot of Nintendo games, right? Cell shaded, bright, cartoony characters. I'm
Hmm.
still not comfortable, even in 2023, with the way that people look when they're tried to be realistic. It's just weird, and it's still uncomfortable to me. I'd rather not have that. I'd rather like
Are
a
the graphics on your computer as good as like the graphics on PS5?
my computer would not be quite as good as a PS5, but
Good.
I've got a decent computer. Not, let me think. I would say that hardcore gamers would laugh at my computer, but like an average PC gamer would be like, yeah, his computer's fine. So no, the graphics, all the detail and everything looks good. It's literally just the way that humans are designed in video games that are supposed to be realistic. It's weird. I won't be comfortable with it for a while. I don't think. But anyway, it's a very good game. I can't wait for you to at least get the chance to play a little bit of it. I don't know if it'll stick. I don't know if it's your type of game, but it's really cool just to like be in Hogwarts. It's awesome. And Heather's loving it too. We're playing it and fighting over the computer simultaneously. Very exciting. Um, that's all my news. I just wanted to bring that up. Pretty exciting. We've been waiting for like a year. Been a year, something like that.
Um,
And then yeah, that's what I got. Chris, anything else before we get started?
Avatar news.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The rumors, if you will, about the Avatar: Last Airbender adult Aang and crew animated film that's coming out in 2025. Apparently, there's a rumor about the about the title. I'm only laughing because the rumor is based off of someone's LinkedIn resume saying they've worked on, this. But anyway, it says the title is Avatar: Last Airbender, Echoes and Aftershocks. And I like it. It's a good title. Because it probably has a lot to do with the lasting effects of the war and everything comes after that. So I think it's a pretty good, solid title.
And my mind
If that
immediately
is
went
the
to
title.
like an Earth Kingdom place, right? It sounded like an earthquake type thing, echoes and aftershocks,
Oh,
Earth
okay.
Kingdom
Yeah,
language.
Aftershocks.
But I mean, who knows? But hey, that's cool. Looking forward
Yeah.
to it. 2025 seems like a long time, but whatever. If I can wait a few years for Harry Potter, I can wait a few years for a good Avatar movie. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm not seeing those blue people.
Not
No, I'm kidding. I
everybody
haven't seen
keeps.
the second one. I have no real desire to see it because I'm just like it's 3 something hours
I
in the movie theater. I don't
I
feel like
can't.
doing.
Man, I'm sure it's a good movie. I'm sure I would even like it, but it's just one of those things where it's like the first one was like I get why people are excited. It's an amazing looking movie in what year was it? 2008, something like that.
Yeah.
9. It's like, okay, I get it, but like I just didn't like the movie that much. Like it was fine, and everybody's like, this one's even better than the first one. I was like, in my head, I kind of hope so, you know.
Yeah, like
So no, I haven't.
it's been like 14 years. I hope it is better.
They've had some time to polish things up, but no, and I'm sure the first one, if you're into that, probably holds up pretty well, and I'll watch it someday. I just don't care too much. So good luck, Avatar. I do great.
I mean, in a way, it is. To me, it is. I understand why the first Avatar was so popular. It wasn't even probably the 3D animation, not anime, the 3D stuff, but I'm sure that was really a good chunk of it.
I mean, it
But
looked
I'm comparing
great.
it to, it did look great. But I think that was just like what enticed people to think about going to see it. What made it, I think, the huge juggernaut that it was, is like Top Gun Maverick. It just has something that it's a movie that you don't have to think too hard on, but it has characters enough that you can identify with them at any, like they're not. It's a very common denominator amongst anyone, right? It's like doesn't matter what your background is, what your political ideology is. It's not. Well, I take that back because Avatar, I think, does have some type of political messaging in it, but it has like these movie tropes in it that always work.
It's
Like, I think I love Top Gun Maverick. It was a great time seeing that. But it had certain movie tropes. I'm like, I don't care. I know this is a trope, but I'm enjoying it.
it was like a nice perfect storm of like you have a great point, you know, it had a lot of aesthetic appeal and that helps the marketing, but then the marketing itself was just very good. Big cast, the James Cameron effect. That's the guy, right?
Yep.
And so just like a perfect storm of a lot of different factors that like yeah, it's gonna appeal to most people, and it did, and it worked. So good for it. Good for it. Hey, oh, you know what? This is off the cuff. Speaking of appealing to most people, Nintendo had an E3 thing, not an E3. What do they call it? Direct, the Nintendo Direct, and they dropped, a lot of neat stuff. Just more news about Zelda 2, Metroid Prime remaster, which I know there's a massive diehard community that's been waiting a while for that. And it's very exciting. And to me, it says that the Nintendo Switch, which you can see I care about back here, is gonna live. It's gonna keep on living. It's gonna sell another 50 million units before it even like starts to slow down. But then I read this article that was like, it was an IGN article, and one of the authors was talking about how they were kind of nearing the end, though, or how it signaled the end because they were kind of getting to the end of what they thought they'd be willing to put on the virtual console and to the
Hmm.
sort of bottom of the remasters well and everything. And it's not like a doom and gloom, but I don't know. It was like an article that was trying to be trendy, and it made me mad because in the end, it's like, okay, like it could ride this wave for the next 2 years, and that person could be right, and that means that it lived 8 years and probably became the first or second best-selling console of all time. I don't know, it just made me a little like, come on, IGN, get out of here. Get out of here, you clowns. Anyway, it was a really good Nintendo Direct if you're kind of a classic Nintendo fan. Go check it out.
All right. 15 minutes in. We should put a timestamp on
Timestamp.
this
Yeah, I gotta timestamp this one.
stuff. Um. Oh, so we're now ranking. If you're ready to move on, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right.
Stoked.
We'll be ranking the Avatar, all the Avatar couples, or yeah, Avatar couples. I'll start off with the honorable mention, which I did not care to rank, Sean, even though you added to it,
I
because it
was
didn't.
using it to
I,
make fun of the other things in the list relative to it.
oh, okay.
It was meant to
Uh,
derogatory. Yeah.
the Cabbage Man and his cabbages. I don't want those cabbages need a voice in this, and they are being, I don't know.
They clearly don't love him. They keep trying to get away. It's No kind of Stockholm syndrome going on there. No, that was strictly put in there to make fun of the things that I put lower than it.
Yeah,
That's all. Hit me with the first real one.
that's fun. All right. So going from last to best, worst to best. So there are seven couples, which for some reason I thought there would be more. Don't know why.
I did
Because
too.
there's so many ships that seven couples isn't a lot.
There are way more ships than there are, like, viable ships, not just random. Like, we talked
Yeah,
about
yeah,
way
yeah,
more
yeah.
ships than exist couples in the show.
There's a tie for last. And I will give you the tiebreaker for this because you ranked this one the lowest. And surprisingly, this might surprise people. Ranked last is Sokka and Princess Yue. Sean, why did you hate this ship so much? You had this one ranked dead last.
Chris, would you allow me to have a change of heart, but then I'll explain both sides?
Sure.
Would you
like
read
to
the
tell me?
second
Would you?
tie one that I
Okay.
assume is going to be the other last one?
Yes. The other one is Azula and Chan.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. Okay, so Azula,
we,
I ranked I ranked Sokka and Iwe last because it's just
Yue.
it's
Yue.
Iwe. I can't say it.
Yue.
Yue.
This is
I feel like I'm
this has
trying
been
too hard to say it right.
thing is
Yue.
though, since we reviewed that episode years ago, I remember you saying it wrong even in that episode, and then you continuously have like said it a little bit wrong here and there.
It's a different
But I'm sure
type
there's
of
someone out there
wrong every
screaming.
time too. It's like the Benedict Cumberbatch thing where you say a different thing every time.
I'm sure
Uh,
there's someone out there that's like, he doesn't, just screaming at their podcast. The thing is, this week on the Bring Elements podcast, I did not like the guest song this week. I know you probably never listened to it, but it was
it's been a
like,
few weeks.
yeah, I didn't like him for some reason.
Did
He
he pronounce Yue
I
wrong?
don't know. He did not pronounce you there. But anyway,
uh, Chris, I put them at the bottom because sometimes when people say, like Avatar is a kid show or whatever, and I always come back with like, oh, I mean, yeah, it's kind of made for kids, but like most of it is so palatable and insightful no matter what age that you are. This is
Mhm.
something that makes it feel like Sokka and Yue, like a bad teen or young, not quite teens cartoon. Like it's so reactionary and stupid high school crushy. Like there's no real vibes there. Just two kids kind of being dumb and dramatic. And like, yeah, Sokka's funny, so of course he has some appeal to it. That's kind of tropey too. So there's nothing there other than like a little crush. That's all that is. And that's why I put it last, because I think
Um,
everything else had more substance.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. So they had probably about, I think, 3 weeks, 3 weeks to probably 4 weeks together,
I
somewhere around
spilled
there.
water all over myself.
Do you think
Um,
that's enough time to fall into a hard crush with someone?
I can consider at that age, like at Sokka's age, falling
That
into a hard
age
crush
is
in a week or so. Uh, I, I mean, kids, right? Like we were all young ones. But I don't think that changes my answer about there being kind of the
okay.
least substance there from what the show offers.
Okay, I do think substance wise, maybe it's not the strongest, but I think they could have fallen into a very deep liking with each other, that they really cared about each other. Um, within, a couple of weeks. I think us as a viewer, it goes by really fast because it's really just like 2 episodes
That's
and
fair. It is a
it
couple weeks,
seemed
but what
the
I'm
most
getting is a
believable.
couple minutes.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah. But
Where,
I get your point.
Whereas Chan and Azula, you kind of feel
But
like, oh, you
yeah.
got a douchebag guy and evil girl. Like, okay, that's Jersey Shore. We can work with this as far as entertainment
I
value
mean,
goes.
I, so I had that one ranked um I had that one ranked 6, but I didn't have Sokka and UA ranked as low as you did. I had it ranked 5.
Okay.
Um, Azula Chan or Chan Zula. Um, for some reason, I just find this shit funny. I just find this couple funny
I
because it's like it's he's really douchey and like so full of himself, and to be with Azula who is like Azula's not full of herself, but Azula because Azula knows that she is that chick. Like
she's not
she
showy
is.
for showy. Like Chan being showy is to like make friends or whatever. Azula is just powerful, not showy.
Yeah.
It's a spectacle by itself.
Yeah, I think someone said one time it's not bragging if you can back it up. And that's what Azula is like what she says she is.
Chris, you said you had them ranked Chanzula ranked
6.
sixth, and is there 7 couples
Yeah.
or 7 counting?
There are 7 couples, and our next one is the one that I had ranked
This
last.
is where I would want to change my mind, I think, and where I was going to have a change of heart, and I might agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, rattle it off, and I'll.
So at number 5 is Katara and Jet.
This I was laying in bed thinking about it last night, and I was like, you know what? I give
Tossing
this.
and turning.
Well, I was
Uh,
too because I like to discredit Jet because I hate him as a character. But you kind of do see some connection there. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, there's way less there even than Sokka has with Yue. Like,
yes. Yeah.
so
And it's so much more manipulative too.
I,
And
I,
it's
I
so much
think
it's so much more superficial
it
also.
is. It's so much more fake. At least Sokka and Yue are being kids being kids. Where this so I think if you could convince me that they should be the lowest, and you could also convince me that Chanzula maybe could be the lowest, or even you could convince me that you don't even have to count Chanzula. I think we should, but
I like counting. I like counting.
I
Yeah.
would say we
They
should. I'll put it in
kiss.
there.
How
Oh,
many
that's
couples
true. They do.
actually kiss in the show?
But I think in
Not
the
well,
end,
all
uh,
these do.
I think in the
No,
end,
no,
I
they
was
do.
trying not to be too hard on Jet specifically when I ranked him. But then I was looking back, I was like, but I can't be that hard on Sokka and then not be that hard on Katara. So I'm actually, if you would allow it, I'm going to agree with you and say that this might be the worst ship.
Okay,
It,
I'll allow it. But
it's mean
watch yourself,
spirited.
McCoy.
It's mean spirited. It's substanceless.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then to change it up,
my bad.
number 7 would be no, you're fine. Number 7, Tara Jet.
Fair.
Number 6,
This is where the tie
so,
happens. Then if I'm doing some quick math, right? Which is still fine. I think
uh, let's
Chanzula
see if
and Saka
if
Yue has similar lack of appeal.
yeah, so this yeah yeah I'm sorry that one's tied. So Guitar Jet number 7. Oh wait, but if that's 7, then that comes down to a 6, and that's 5.5. So then Azula and Chan would be 6. Cool.
I can live with
Yes.
either of those in either spot of the 5-6
Yes.
group. I'm
So
comfortable with that.
Guitar Jet number 7, Azula Chan number 6, Sokka and Yue number 5. I'm cool with that also.
I'm gonna chalk up my change of heart to appreciating childhood innocence more the more I thought about it.
So like he's still like Yue still stays with Sokka. You know, like he sees her in the swamp and everything.
Yeah.
So
Uh, and like just because it didn't have more time to elaborate, that's not their fault either, right? So yeah, I'm
all right,
comfortable with it moving up, but I'll change my mind for
Super
sure.
Shao.
Stupid
Number
Joe.
4. It is Zuko and Jin, which I am all for this ship. All
Yeah,
for this couple. I really like this couple. It's a nice couple, I think.
even if it doesn't go anywhere, doesn't mean it wasn't a good thing. It was like a good stage for Zuko. He made a good attempt. Jin seemed nice. We don't know a lot about, but it felt so earnest that in a limited
Yeah,
time frame, I'm really happy for it.
yeah. Like you think about Zuko doing something a normal teenager would do. He has not had a normal teenager life at all. He finally did something that a normal teenager would do. Huge step
He
for Zuko.
he risked it for the biscuit too, and it's not like he was trying to like make a girl's evening, and he risked a fire pit in front of her. Like not in front of her, but you know what I mean. That was Zuko kind of doing nice new Zuko things in a way,
Uh,
and I liked that.
uh, Funny enough, I am. I said this in my "Who Did Zuko Marry" video that this is probably Zuko's first kiss because he wouldn't have had any real chances beforehand, and like him and May, it's just assumed they had a crush on, but they definitely had a crush on each other. But there's nothing to really speculate that they. One thing, Zuko would have been 12. I don't think they
Yeah,
would have. I thought that's not saying much. Aang is 12. I-
I mean he could have. He just
but
doesn't
still, I
seem.
don't.
I'm
Yeah,
convinced that you're right. I don't
yeah.
see the substance, the evidence that he would have kissed somebody before.
Also, I made a joke in that video where I'm like, uh, it's not that funny of like a haha joke. I just did my timing. It was good. I was like, Zuko lit these candles and Jin said nothing. Either Jin, but maybe she didn't care that he was fighting Ancient because she saw this boy who was scarred, who needed to be loved, and she was one who could love him. And I go off on this little tangent about love and stuff, and then I just go, or she's just an idiot and didn't realize he was a firebender.
This is a big build up, and then to
Yeah.
a quick 180. There's probably a comedy name for that. Nicely done, Chris.
Mm,
Nicely done.
probably is. Number three
Pull the rug out from
is
under you. Is that what that you pulled the rug out from under him?
ooh,
Is that what you did?
think so.
Okay.
Think so.
Sorry,
Think
I
so it's called.
interrupted for nothing.
No, thank you. Thank you for interrupting me. We just pulled the rug out of the number three spot. Right, we'll skip to number two now. Number three, it is Zuko and May. Now, I'm actually really surprised that I even ranked this. That is even ranked this high because this ship is like this couple is almost infuriating. But then I started thinking about like real life couples and how sometimes they go through the ups and downs, and there are times where they do not get along, but they eventually find themselves. Just the one of the most epic lines in all of Avatar is is when in the episode I'm sorry, in the episode The Boiling Rock, after May has betrayed Azula and she's captured, and Azula's like, why? Why would you do it? And then May is like, you think she says something, but she says, you miscalculated. I love Zuko more than I fear you. And then Azula's like, no, you should have feared me more. And then Azula's like about to lightning kill her. But that's such a dope line. Like, you miscalculated. I love Zuko more than I fear you. That is such a cool line. That line alone is a little bit higher.
The ship itself, the negatives, to me, and they finally we're to one with some like real substance to work with here. The negatives are that it's like too heavy-handed, like oh, it's the couple of depressed kids or whatever, and the couple of dark brooding people, and like it feels so heavy-handed. But on the positive side is A, that does provide some entertainment value. B, they like legitimately make sacrifices for each other. So they again doesn't like that's the first time we've seen that in a ship as far as this list goes. They kind of both grow in different trajectories. They go through like little patches of, I guess you'd call it what would you call it? Bumpy patches or adversity. Like it doesn't feel like it should even get to that point. So as much as I don't really want to like it, it's hard not to. It's nice.
Yeah. And what was I about to say about it? I mean, there's a certain aspect of them knowing each other since they were kids and understanding little things about them, about each other.
Yeah. there's something. I mean, kind of like you said earlier about the movies. It is a trope, or there's some tropiness happening here, but that doesn't inherently makes it bad. It might make me more critical of it out of the gate, but
Mm.
doesn't make it bad. It's fine. Three. I think three is the right spot.
Yeah. Number 2 is Aang and Katara. This is like the main couple of the whole show. Like so much of the show surrounds these two and Aang's destiny. And should Aang one of my favorite Iroh gosh, that's a I was about what's one of my favorite Iroh quotes. There's a bunch of
We'll have an
them.
episode someday. It'll be great.
Yeah. This isn't necessarily an Iroh quote, but he was giving Aang advice, and Iroh's like, I think it's very wise of you to value love over power. Like that is, I think that's somewhat the thesis of Avatar: Last Airbender, is that power, like physical power, isn't nearly as important as love is, and everything that comes with it. And their relationship dynamic is a lot about that.
I know they're going to talk about heavy-handed and tropes, and prominent male protagonist ending up with prominent female protagonist. But there's a lot to like about the way that their two character types mesh and go together, the type of balance they bring each other. And it's not perfect. That's why it's not number one. But it's so easy to root for. And probably Zutara fans out there like, no, it's not. But it's I don't. They both have the same big picture end in mind. Love is probably the right. Like they both have that as like their primary goal together or as people. I don't know. I just don't know how you don't root for it. How you don't want it to work.
Yeah. You don't want to work if you like the fiery with the water, Sean. It's all
even if
that's one thing I didn't like about the guests. Oh, one thing I don't mind if anyone ships Zutara. That's perfectly fine. And that's
I'm also about to say
good
something nice
and
about
bad.
Zutara as well.
But no, the guest on the show was like, he ships Zutara because they always ask like, who do you ship and stuff. He ships Zutara, and then he goes on to say like, this is why I could tell that the show was aimed at kids because I don't think kids could like grasp how the girl could end up with like with the bad guy. Like it's too complicated of a story, and I don't know. There's just it's not as I don't know. To me, it just seemed a little bit uh dang it.
Less complex.
No, just his like condemnation of it just seemed patronizing. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just annoying. But my point is that there's a lot of depth to Aang and Katara's relationship. Not that there couldn't have been depth to Zuko and Katara relationship, because there definitely could have been. It could easily could have been written. They didn't show any of this throughout the show, but um, I'm about to get another bad review again.
Chris, that's going to hurt
our
show's fiscal income. More bad reviews.
No.
I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say something nice about Zutara, but I think still plays to my point. Is that even if you said that there's enough of Zutara that like if you were going to include him in your own rankings or that we should include him in ours, and then even if you ranked Zutara higher than Katang, like even if both those things were true, you could still look at this relationship and I would have a hard time believing anything too scathing of it. Like, if you try to take like the favoritism for a Zutara or whatever out of it and you're putting together your own rankings, I just would have a hard time believing anything terribly scathing other than just being a little tropey. It's so good natured.
I think that is, and that might be some people's complaints about it. I think the two of the main complaints I see is that it is kind of tropey, which is fine because tropes are a thing. Tropes are tropes for a reason.
Yeah. It brings people to movie theaters.
The other thing is, if you're like, Tara's too old for him. I'm like, one thing. You don't know like how old. Like, all you know is that when the series starts, Aang is 12 and Katara's 14. Aang could have been like 12 and 8 months. And Katara could have just turned 14. It could have. When we say 2 years, granted, it could be the. Well, no, I know it's not the reverse of that because Aang turns 13 by the end of the series. I don't think Katara actually turns. For some reason, I never seen Katara anything that shows that Katara turned 15 by the end of the series. Um, and so that's really not a huge point to me. And some people say like, "Oh, well, Katara's too motherly to him and stuff." And my response to that is that oftentimes wives can be and girlfriends can be motherly. Like you
I
want
think there's
your significant other to take care of you. Like,
a famous psychiatrist out there
so
that
one
I'm pretty
time,
sure likes to tell people that you marry your mothers or whatever. Like it's a thing. Not
yeah,
suggesting that you do.
one time I asked my sociology teacher in high school. I was like, "Are men more attracted to are men attracted to women who remind them of their wives because they inherited that from their father, or because they remind them of their mother, right? Because like, oh, if your father's attracted to this certain
Do
type of
you
woman, then
share
maybe he
similar
passed that attraction
attractions
down to you.
or
Attractions, yeah.
do you share similar attractions or are you attracted to things that you saw in your brother?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, that's a good question.
And then he was like, he didn't realize. He was like, that's a good question. Life is. He started getting kind of
Did
like,
he give you the birds and the bees speech? He sat you down and said, listen,
you're not
Chris.
getting. No, this was like my senior year in high school, and most kids accepted me for having sex. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. I was not.
Right, not kidding about part
But
of it, kidding about the other part.
I
50
don't.
50.
I don't think most kids. I don't think most kids were. I don't know. I wasn't asking people left and right.
Yeah, I
Hey,
didn't engage in
I
the
was
conversation very
minding my
often.
business.
Uh,
Well, the one time this girl did ask me. Now I'm looking back. I wonder was she interested. She's doing well now. Well, she was very beautiful.
I gotta be honest, I
Not
was always scared to even think, it's like, I want to know what people are doing here because everybody's related to each other. And I just try to just isolate myself from any weirdness. It's a small county. That's all I'm gonna say. But the point is,
had to go on mute there. Anyway, don't know where we're going. We got off on another real tangent there.
you're just getting the idea of like marrying a motherly figure or what have you, shipping a motherly figure as a guy is a phenomenon that exists. It's a thing.
Anyway, anything else on the
No,
Zutara relationship?
I think people, if you're only hard on it because you are a Zutara person and you like Zutara better, at least try to remove that and just try to take this for what it is and like, hey, is this an entertaining, narratively useful ship?
Yeah. Also, I would say this as a non-Zutara fan, as a person who's never shipped those two people, I understand why people ship those two, right? Because there's a certain dynamic of the two. I just don't see anything in the show. And nothing in the show says that Katara is attracted to Zuko or Zuko's attracted to Katara. In fact, they go in a complete opposite than that on so many different different times. Like times where Katara's like, "I'll kill you if you just step out of line," or Zuko and her being like, "That's not my girlfriend. That's not my boy." When June comes up with it, but I see if the writers when they were creating it, if they want to go down there are avenues they could have gone down, but there was like I said, nothing in the show that I think actually supports that. But go ahead, ship it. It's cool.
Fair enough.
Number one is Sakasuki. This is like to me. This is relationship goals. Hashtag relationship goals right here.
It was like the easiest choice. Usually, I don't know. It was much easier to start from the top this exercise because I knew that this was going to be my top answer.
Mm-hmm.
They're good for each other. They have like good similarities, right? They have good connection points, but then they also have interesting differences, and the opposites attract to some degree.
Yeah.
Feeding off each other and learning from each other rather than just being kind of the same character in a different gender. It feels
Hmm.
so natural. It feels so appropriate.
Yeah, I hope that they stay together because I also have a theory that Suki eventually leaves Sokka and marries Zuko. There's stuff there, more stuff between Suki and Zuko than Zuko and Katara in the comic books. That's just this one panel. That's just like weird. Like, why are they doing this? Why why
That
are
you
they
felt like the
dipping them?
creators of the panel like did it on purpose.
Yeah, like I don't know. But Sokka Suki, I think is a relationship. Like she does change him in like the best way. Like a good woman would change it in the best way, as I'm sure any father will give that advice.
And Chris, to your point, like
My
even if
my dad
Suki,
my dad always my dad always quotes. There's some Bible verse where he's like, and the Bible says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And I'm like, what is that?
you just,
Maybe
I never
maybe
met your dad, but it's like I can hear another human's voice being channeled through you with just the right amount of
it's like it's like the Avatar took
dadliness.
over, and his my it's, that's a new story I could do.
Yeah,
Like
you did,
your past generations take over your body because their soul is in your genes, and so they can
and
take it
that's
over
why you're
anytime.
attracted to your mother or something like that. I don't know.
Oh gosh, no, Sean, that went
The-
not attracted to your mother, Sean.
the even in Chris, to your point, even if she leaves Sokka later, like that still wouldn't necessarily, in my mind, like disqualify this from being the best ship that we have in the
Yeah,
show. And if it ends, it doesn't mean it was a bad ship and all that stuff. Like
exactly.
Sokka
Yeah.
clearly changed for the better. I don't know that Suki changed or progressed as much, but since she's
So
not in the
she,
picture quite as much, you don't see
well,
it.
she did. Like she was the thing that she changed was, and she says this to a certain extent. Like they were secluded. They were out of the war. Like they're like Kyoshi has stayed out of the war all this time. They're talking about Kyoshi Island, Kyoshi warriors. And then when when she saw, Sokka and I'm sure Aang and stuff, that inspired them to go out and help people. So that was a little change from them. And I'm sure the Sokka was a big part of that.
That's a great point. That makes me feel even better about this being the right answer, regardless of what happens in the future. You know what? Do I like? I could see Zuko and Suki. I could see that being a thing. Like Zuko is like, listen, I missed out on Katara. I got to look around, Team Aang and see what else is there. He gets over his lingering spat with Aang in the initial comics,
Mhm.
and then he's trying to work his way back into the squad, and he's like, hey, Suki, Chris. Final thoughts on the best ships, not favorite ships, because let's be honest, favorite ships, that might be Chanzula, who knows? But the best ships in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I don't think I'm really surprised I can't think of like another couple that we see in the series.
I mean, all I can think of
Um,
is the two that had the baby. That's it. That's all.
oh yeah, I can't even remember their name.
I can't either. And what would you say about them? Like, they would obviously be middle of the pack because nothing good or bad happens. They have a
I mean,
baby.
hey, he got her. They help each other through being refugees and stuff, having a baby together. That's
Boom,
in their
three
time.
slot ranked.
The only other one that's not in the series. Well, I don't
Well,
know. It is in the
yeah.
series.
Should we have
We
ranked
could add it in.
Ozai and
That's what I'm thinking. They would have been last,
what's her name?
easily
I can't
last.
think. I feel terrible.
Ursa,
Earth.
Ursa.
Yeah.
They, they would have definitely been last. 'Cause that is not a loving relationship. That relationship was forced and completely last.
And
If we were
and
counting that.
and pretty messed up. The more you learn about it
If you
later.
think about it, if you really think about it, it's a really effed up relationship.
Yeah. Okay, so that one's last. Congratulations. There's a new 8. Just gonna squeeze that one in
Other than
there.
that, I can't. Really, for some reason, I thought there would be more like
I,
canon
I wanted
couples, but
something. I wanted something from Iroh so bad, but like he didn't quite get like
there's
any kind of
not. Yeah.
connection from the fortune teller lady. He didn't quite get June interested enough to be a ship, but it made me a little
Yeah, that
sad
was a
that we
little
didn't get
creepy.
a.
Uh, there was the transport lady who was embossing say, but that was more just like flirting, like
Yeah,
just
I needed
yeah.
the transport lady or the fortune teller lady to like respond to give us something to work with.
I mean, I think the fortune teller later said Iroh was handsome. One of them said he was handsome, but
Boom.
Iroh was clearly trying to use his charm to get tickets to the
Yeah,
ferry or
that
whatever it
was
was.
so that one ranks lower because
Uh,
that's being manipulative. But his
sure.
his intentions for the fortune teller lady were clearly good. No, I thought there would be more though. You're absolutely right. I thought there'd be more ships to talk about. Frankly, no.
It'd be so interesting when we get to Legend of Korra. There's so many of them.
Legend of Korra. Yeah, we're
Uh,
gonna have to think about that one longer. I think and talk about it
but
longer.
we'll first do the rating of all the ships, all the canon and non-canon ships. We'll first do that rating, the sink it, float it, or ship it. We'll have some guest on. Don't know who yet, but that'll come in the future, and then we will rank the canon couples. So all in the future.
Yeah, and both of those things are going to be wild because there's going to be much more ships in general, canon and not canon,
Holy crap!
and
There's
then
so
much more.
many ships in Legend of Korra,
There are,
and
and
there's some like some got a weird ship. Like everyone ships Korra with absolutely everybody.
if you look hard enough on the internet, you can see Korra with Varric or what.
Like yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I've seen her shipped with Unalaq, Amon. Like Amon, the guy who like she is like scared.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to touch those. You can sink those prematurely. I will say, Chris, I don't I don't like this element as much, but that will be a much more interesting discussion to have just based on like the number of moving pieces and parts. So
Yeah.
while I don't love ships in the shows or I don't care as much about them, I am excited to do those episodes because there's a lot going on. That's all I got. Chris, uh, thanks for the idea and for doing the rankings. My name's Sean. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame, and also the artist the artist currently known as Chris. And I'll put all of the contact details down in the description. We're grateful for whatever interaction, likes, reviews, thumbs up, bells, like whatever the platform action is. If you give us any of them, we'd really appreciate that. If not, thanks for watching anyway. We really appreciate that too. And we'll talk to you next week.
Happy Valentine's Day. If you celebrate it. I don't, but I guess I'll have to.
Yeah, do the things if you want. See you later.
Yeah. There's a Harley Ivy. Pretty funny. I've watched half of it so far.
Oh, I didn't watch that. Hey, go peep.
Just came back today.
Go peep how well your noise lines up with the exit music.